welcome to the podcast, man.
Great. It's great to be here. It really
Yeah.
is. Love it.
Austin, like I was saying earlier, I met you, or I didn't, this is my first time meeting you, but I
Mhm.
heard of you guys, you and your company just a few weeks ago, through a live stream you did on Instagram with a handful of, well, now they're buddies of mine because I did podcasts with each one of those guys actually
Mhm.
after I saw that live stream. So, Radar, Admin Airsoft, and Peanut. So, and all three of them talked about you and your company.
Mhm.
So it was pretty cool. But anyway, yeah. So I have some questions. Probably, and this is recorded. So if you don't want to answer something, or you don't want to talk about something, it's no big deal. Like, skip or next, or
Right.
you ain't gonna hurt my one feeling, I promise you.
Uh-huh.
But so but I was doing some research on your business and yourself on your LinkedIn or whatever, and I came across some related people, I guess. Are you related to Charles Austin Miles?
No, never.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
any bells.
Okay. Because he grew up in the same area as where you're from, and
Mhm.
now this would have been like maybe your grandfather or great grandfather, maybe. Um, but he's kind of famous for writing just about every gospel hymn in the in the hymn books in churches. You
So,
know,
what was the name?
Charles Austin Miles. So I know if you looked up this song, "In the Garden" is probably one of his most famous songs. Elvis sang it, which is where I heard it from,
Hmm.
and so
Yeah, I would like to look into this. I don't know I haven't done one of those 24 and Me or whatever it's called where you look
yeah.
up your stuff. But yeah, I'm looking at it now. 1868 46, born in Lakehurst, New Jersey. So that's interesting.
hmm
Kind of looks like me a little bit too.
I was gonna say that, but I was like, I don't know, I don't want to sound weird or nothing, but
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I definitely would like to look into this. But no, yeah, I'm not related to anyone as far as I'm aware of that writes hymns.
how dare you?
Yeah,
You went to church growing up. You should know all those songs. So
that's
did
funny.
you? So you're born and raised in like New Jersey or
Yeah,
maybe
South
Philadelphia,
Jersey.
Philly area? Okay.
Yeah, so born and raised in South Jersey, and then about 17, I ran off and joined the army. I always threatened my mom to do it while I was playing video games and stuff, but I never really wanted to do it. But I had an older brother join the Marines, and that's
Hoorah!
what I originally wanted to do. I really was, like crazy out of my mind. But there was he was actually the one that talked me out of it. Because when you're younger, you're very vulnerable to the propaganda of just about every branch. But
Sure.
he really wanted to go MARSOC. That was his thing, and he was like, "I can't. They won't let me. They keep telling me just be happy with being a Marine." So I really wanted to step in the special operations world. That's what I wanted to do. So I was like, well, I'm going to go like Army Ranger Sniper. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
and, I was homeschooled my whole life. So,
Oh shit. Okay.
yeah. So, going from a big background with a Christian family, highly conservative family, and then joining the military was like a culture shock.
Right.
I was not ready for it, especially joining the infantry. And my first year was rough, but I toughed through it. I was with the 101st for about 4 years. Really wanted to go to Ranger School, do all this stuff. Never ended up doing it. I mean, it was hard enough being on active duty at that unit, and I
Yeah.
struggled with that a lot. And it was like, can I do this next level stuff? So then I got out, and then I joined the Jersey Guard and moved back to this area, into the Philadelphia area, and used my GI Bill in Philly to go to school for my nursing degree.
I was going to ask you about. You
Yeah.
went to Drexel. Is that what it
Yeah.
was? Yeah.
So I went to Drexel, got a bachelor's of science in nursing.
Why were you
Uh,
interested in the medical, or what got you interested in the medical?
I don't know. I think I just thought it was really interesting, and I
Yeah.
really wanted to learn about it, and I really just wanted to put myself in a situation where maybe like I'm going to test myself. I tested myself in the military, and I really was like, can I do this? And then I never got the chance on active duty to deploy, and then I came in the guard, and I found out in the guard it's like more common to deploy, and you just get to do whatever you want. So during that, while I was working my nursing degree, I went and joined a Recon team up in North Jersey, and then I ended up deploying to East Africa with them, and that was like the best opportunity I've ever been given. I mean, it was like guys that we had deployed with were like this is such a rare opportunity that they had deployed in the past, but we literally traveled all over Africa as like flyaway security teams for these Air Force C-130s dropping cargo into like CIA blackout sites.
Oh wow.
I mean, stuff I could tell you about like Somalia and Mozambique, Kenya, our involvement in those areas and how I operated all along that eastern horn of Africa. And it was like, it just was insane the amount of military presence and stuff we have in that area. I mean, I could write a book about it.
You should one day.
I had no idea. Like, I'm out now, so I can talk about it. But like, it was like that was like a really interesting deployment. So we did a lot on that deployment. It was really the experience that I wanted to test myself. I wanted to put myself in that. Can I go 2 days without sleep? How well can I do here?
Right.
And then, so I stopped nursing, came back, finished my nursing degree, and then threw myself right into the ER. I just wanted to test myself. I was like, can I do this? Can I get somebody that's coming in that's bleeding out from a car accident? Can I throw an IV in? Can I shake while I'm doing it? Can I get good to the point where I can just stick an IV in? I can get fluids going. I can give epi. I can do this, and I'm quick and fast, and I know what I'm doing. And then once I master that, I'm going to get out and move on. And that's what I did.
Was that after you? So after you got out of nursing, or at the ER, you went. Were you on deployment again? You went for more training, right? You went to. I don't think a lot of people have heard of this. The Phoenix Raven.
Yeah, that's
squad or how?
Correct. It's a very like lucrative school for the Air Force, and people in the Air Force, I'm talking to them at this school, and they're like, dude, I've been trying to get to this school for years, and I finally made the cut. And they asked me for this deployment because that's what these Ravens do. The Phoenix Ravens, they go to this school. It's like their Ranger school. Right. And you just get the shit beat out of you for like 4 weeks. And it sucked. That was like the hardest school I've ever been to. And that's what I did overseas. You go into these foreign countries and it takes a lot of, like, for instance, a U.S. plane is sovereign U.S. territory. So you can have a rifle in there. You can do whatever you want. You drop the ramp. You can have a rifle up there. If someone starts running towards the plane or fires an RPG at it, you can wax them. But if you step off that plane into a foreign country, you're now on foreign soil. You can't have a gun. So they don't. A lot of people don't know that. But like when I landed in Mozambique, and I had an M9 under me, they were like, "You can't have that. Put it back in the plane." I'm like, "You kidding me? How am I supposed to defend myself?" Like, what? There's freaking terrorists all over this place, like literally looking to grease some freaking Americans and
pick up a rock, bro.
So that's what, we all were really good at jujitsu. Like that's what we did. And I still do jujitsu because of it. And so you just have a baton like hidden under you, or in some cases I didn't care. I don't care. I'm in a third world country staying at some shady ass hotel. Like I'm going to keep an M9 like tucked in my pants.
Yeah.
But I did. And, most of the time we were in civilian clothes trying to remain under the radar, which is impossible when you're 6'1" and 230 pounds. Like,
right.
So that's what we did. And we just kind of tried to fly under the radar, and we land in certain areas. We would just kind of have stuff tucked away in our backs and stuff. So if shit went down, we could just whip it out and stuff. So that's what the Phoenix Raven does. That course teaches you how to do that, what to do, how to respond, how can you not create an international incident, and how to survive like out in the middle of these desolate airfields if something goes down. And
Is that why I think they? I was watching a couple videos on that when I researched, some of the stuff you had been in, and it was talking about they do a pretty extensive baton training.
mm,
That's probably why, right? To
yeah,
you're
you
not
can't.
killing cities.
Yeah, like you can't. You have no weapon. There's a shooter on the plane. You'll keep on the plane, and they
Yeah,
can whack somebody. But if you're out there by yourself, like you're it. You got 4 Ravens with you, and if you start getting pinned down by like a machine gun somewhere or a couple guys with AKs, like you, you don't have a weapon. Like you got to figure it out. So it was like
jeez.
it got real shady sometimes. Like out there, and I would just be like, my heart start racing. I'm like, oh man, if this goes south, like we're all dead. Like no problem. Like
Oh,
these guys are
Jesus.
gonna grease us. So it was like it was a really good experience to do that over there, and I was really fortunate to get that opportunity.
Yeah,
So everybody knows we have a big base in Djibouti, which is the country north of Somalia. But
right.
nobody knows how involved we are with Somalia, how we operate down there with special operations, special forces. We just have a massive presence down there, and I mean all over the place from East Africa. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, when I
that's
was looking at your LinkedIn, it said East Africa. I was like, wow, I don't think I've met anyone that was deployed there, you know?
yeah, you'll meet people from Djibouti, and they'll just say they sat on their ass and were on guard tower and stuff. But like, yeah, we're like, you'll see these spooky guys go out like on Black Hawks, and you'll see the Chinooks, and they'll fly down Somalia. And it was like somehow my Recon unit got attached to these guys, and we would either go down when they had somebody got blown up or something. We would jump on the bird. It would take us down there, and we'd like secure the airfield. Get the evac out of there and get them up there. Like, there's maybe like such a small percentage of soldiers that got to like do stuff like that, especially in
Right.
Africa.
Well, especially with that group. I saw it said there was like the Phoenix Ravens are, I think there are 2,500 or 2,800 of them
Mm-hmm.
in the whole Air Force. I was like, holy shit, that's pretty wild. I had when I went to, I was in the Marine Corps for 4 years, and
Okay.
I remember after I came back from Okinawa, I went back to Camp Pendleton, and where my last duty station, and I saw one of my buddies that I was in boot camp with,
Mhm.
and he was going through. He had just come back from overseas as well, and he was going through something called Anglico, and we were like, "What the fuck is that?" He had wings on, and I was like, "What are you doing?" I've never even heard of it, but it's like a special forces that the Marine Corps has that no one's ever heard of. Just like the Ravens. If there's
Anglo.
not a movie on it, then they don't. Nobody's heard of it.
Hmm.
It's yeah,
Interesting. Yeah, that's see, like Marines, whenever they talk about Marines, it's like Marines. And
yeah.
it's like
It's just the
whoa.
whole yeah. Like you
And
got all these movies on Navy SEALs, and now back when I was growing up, there was the one of the movies was Delta Force. The kind
yeah,
of anti-terrorist army stuff, whatever. It's pretty cool, but yeah, Green Berets were a big name you heard back when I was growing up.
yeah, that's
But lately,
so
it's like Navy SEALs.
yeah, it's so yeah, that's I've never heard of Anglico. Air Naval Gunfire Liaison Company. Interesting.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I didn't know the Marines like had anything like. To me, it was always like MARSOC or regular Marine, and that there was like no middle area.
right. Well, they have another one that's a little more, I guess, a little more well known. Is Force Recon. So Force Recon is kind of like their special forces. I think some people probably remember the movie Heartbreak Ridge.
Yeah,
That was Force Recon. So
Force Recon. Okay,
yeah,
yeah, so there. So, what kind of process do you have to to get in a Force Recon unit?
great question. I have no idea. I only know from the movies.
They're like
So
a version of the Army Rangers because they're special operations capable force. So they're like the next level up.
yeah.
It's pretty
See,
cool.
of course, we're the Department of Navy, so that's our sister company. But we do a lot of water training, just like, Navy do. So
Mm,
I know the Recon and Anglico have to do some kind of water certification, real similar to Navy SEALs. And of course,
interesting.
they do their jumps, they get their wings and all that. But that's
Mm.
about all I know about it.
Yeah, that's probably the place to be.
Yeah.
That if I ever if I was going to go back in or do anything, I would never go back to regular grunt life ever.
Yeah.
It's just so miserable. And, on deployment, it was like a blast. Like I would go into land in these countries. I wore whatever I wanted. I had whatever gear on I wanted. All my guys, we bought high cut helmets, and it was just awesome overseas. Like Africa was like the wild, wild west. Like it was just cool as shit. And there were Marines. It's a Navy base, so there was a ton of
Oh,
Marines
yeah.
in Djibouti, like a ton of them. But they didn't do anything, and I felt so bad for them because they just sat around and were like, quick response forces for
Oh,
whatever happened in like Yemen and stuff. And they just sat around and they just all looked so miserable. And I'm like, damn, dude, like
yeah. That
I feel
sucks,
bad
bro.
for these guys.
Yeah, that hurry up and wait thing in the military. Because we all go in, most of us go in for the same reason. Like we want to get in the shit,
Mhm.
We want to test ourselves. We want to prove ourselves.
Yeah,
Because, after boot camp, you're like, okay, now what? Like,
exactly. You're like, I
if
did
you're
it.
not in something that's like really interesting to learn, like technical or engineer, whatever kind of thing, your schooling's over pretty quickly, and it's it kind of gets boring because you go
Yeah,
out, it's like classes a day, you still have to run and do PT and shit, but you go out to the bars every night, you're doing, you're drinking one night stands, and that gets old after fucking 8 weeks.
mhm. You definitely are, and that's a lot of stuff people don't think about, and
Oh,
that's what I
boredom
did on active
kills a
duty.
company, kills morale. Boredom.
Yeah, it's nothing worse. But I mean, overseas, it was. If I could, I almost tried to do because they said, "Who wants to stay for an additional deployment?" And most people won't tell you that in the guard you make triple what you make on active. Triple. Like so, if you
What?
make 2 grand on active, like
Yeah.
monthly, you'll make six overseas in the guard. Like triple.
Holy shit.
I mean, it's like a hidden secret in
Yeah.
the military that they won't tell you that the guard, for instance, I mean, some of this stuff's insane, and no one will tell you this, but my platoon sergeant was also a cop, so his job was locked down while he was gone, and he was getting paid. He was getting paid. He was double dipping. So overseas, he was getting paid his regular plate plus BAH, but he put all stuff in storage like the rest of us did.
Yep.
$100 a month. So you collect that BAH no matter if you're single, whatever. In the guard, everyone makes BAH.
Wow.
Everybody gets paid everything. We got combat pay, the whole thing. This guy was double dipping and making close to I think 15 grand a month, and
Jesus.
he came back with close to like I think $250,000. And same with E6s, they were coming back with close to 150. E5s, 100 grand. Like, and I'm telling you, it's insane.
That
Like,
is crazy.
yeah, and if you go to Qatar, like somewhere like that, where you do your guard tower and then you go chill by the pool, it's the same thing. You're going to be getting paid like 8, 9 grand a month. I mean, like
Holy shit.
so the guard is really like that's why guys move over to the guard. They figure that out and they just repeat deployments
Gotcha.
until they've got so much money lying around. Like it's insane.
Yeah.
So
We
um
were we were kind of the group that I grew up with. I was born in 70, so I
mhm,
went in. I had a similar experience, I guess, that you did. Uh, I was raised in a real Christian home,
mhm,
pretty strict, and I got kicked out of my house. I was 17. I knew I wanted to join, I knew I wanted to join the Marine Corps since I was like 12 or 13. And
mhm,
my dad's buddies were all, my dad was in the Navy, his buddies were all Marines, and so I knew the recruiter for like I don't know a year and a half or a year or whatever before I even signed up. And but yeah, I went in right after high school, and I was just like balls to the wall, like gung ho, until they're like, no, you ain't. What you're gonna do? We're gonna put you in a different school. because I signed up for something different, you know, that kind of thing. But I had a similar experience, and it was something that I really wanted to do, but, you know, and then get stationed somewhere that's not really, you know, active. So it was, but the guys that talked about National Guard back then, they were like, that's like, no, man, you
Yeah.
know, it
Like
was
we
kind of
have to
looked
do it
down
all.
upon, to be honest.
It
It was,
is.
yeah, it was like, you're either active duty or you ain't shit. So
Exactly.
the reservists and National Guard were like looked down upon, man. They were like,
Yeah.
"What? You're not even, you're in the Boy Scouts, you know?"
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But that's just, it's such a misconception, you know, and people in the Guard know that, but they know that they're making so much money that it doesn't even matter.
Right.
For instance, for me, once I started making money overseas, I'm gonna go home, call the Ohio National Guard, and say, "Do you guys need anyone to stay over here for you for another year, and do this job?" Because I would do missions for 2 days, for instance, and then I'd come back and I'd sleep for 3 days, and then I'd play video games and work out, and then they'd say, "Hey, Sergeant Miles, we have another mission for you on Thursday." I'd say, "Okay." Go out a mission 2 or 3 more days, fly all over the place, and it sucked. Don't get me wrong, but I'd come back 2 days off, a week off, and then it was like that was deployment. Like nobody cared, nobody gives you crap. I had a team of 6 guys. Like it was like amazing,
Yeah.
and you know I wanted to do that again for another year. I was like, please keep me here, and they said, yeah, we need people. You know, whoever wants to stay, just stay for another year. You could stay over there for 3, 4 years and come back
Holy
like
shit.
half a millionaire. Like it was
Yeah, for
insane.
real.
So, but unfortunately, I think my current, you know, my wife, I was dating her, she wasn't having it.
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's kind of where I went to. I
Mm.
was 2 years in. My wife and I met in college, or I mean in high school,
Hmm.
and I went in the Marines. She went to Kent State University, and then when I came back from Okinawa, uh, I proposed to her. I think I had almost 2 years left. So we got married. You know, I had a year and a half left, and
Hmm.
then I knew when I was going to, you know, thinking about re-upping, I knew they were going to send me to Okinawa again. Like every Marine gets to Okinawa for a year. Like
Wow.
you can't get out of it.
I heard
Well,
it's awful.
it's rare. I had a great time. I don't know how it is now, but back
Hmm.
then, and like you know, like you as well, I had that experience where it was a culture shock. I was especially because raised in a Christian home and you know this kind of thing, and then I go over there. There's strip clubs everywhere, and I'm talking like banana shows, snake show. You know what I'm talking about, like all that kind of quarter shows. So I mean, it was just guys getting blowjobs right next to you, and you know, in another booth while they're drinking. I was like, holy shit, because you know, growing up in the '70s, there's no internet. Like the only way you find out shit is your parents, your friends, and encyclopedias telling you what the fuck, you know. And so you go over there, you're like, what is this? This is legal. Holy shit, you know. But I did have a good time. We, you know, a lot of nights of staying out till 2 in the morning, getting up at
Well,
5:30 to run formation run and puking, keep running. You know how it
yeah,
is.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
Now, how long were you in Okinawa?
just a year.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's nowadays they have. You know, my older brother's a Marine, younger sister's also a Marine,
Okay.
um, and they call it Okinawa Traz. That's like their thing. They hated it.
Really?
They thought it was just like I don't know. I guess things have changed, but they just really
Probably.
like hated that place.
Yeah. We had a good time. Like there was a lot of places to go, and I mean that was our first deployment. You know, that was my first year in, so it was everything's new, and you know the whole culture's new. You're trying to learn Japanese, and you're like, oh, and then they got all these other like you know karate kind of classes you can take. You know,
Mhm.
everyone's out there. You walk by parts of the base where they have the big you know kata. They're doing all you know have lines of people doing kata in the morning. Like, whoa, that's cool. You know, and then they had on our base they had this. Giant, like the gym was huge, and we were all into working out and stuff. So we're doing that. Like it was, and then they had scuba classes, you know, to go learn scuba. So I did a little bit of each of those until for like a week, until just then it ended up just being drinking all the time. So, like, hey, you want to go to the scuba class? No, I did that last week. Let's just drink, you know? So,
Yeah.
but,
Interesting.
yeah. And I spent 3 months in Korea for Operation Team
Okay.
Spirit. Uh, it was cold weather, you know, January. That was fun, but yeah. And then I got stationed at a Edson range, so shooting range at Camp Pendleton, really small compared to Camp Pendleton. And it's where all the recruits go to qualify their second month in boot camp when they
Mm-hmm.
go to Marine Corps boot camp in San Diego.
I
So,
see.
yeah. So you got Parris Island, you got San Diego. If you're east of the Mississippi, Parris Island, west, you go to San Diego. So
Mm-hmm.
those guys would come up. We had recruits up there all the time on the firing line, you know, training and throwing grenades and, you know, doing the machine gun stuff, you know, all that stuff in boot camp. So, but that was a fun place to be. It was Southern Cal,
Okay,
good
so that's
times.
about to be.
And it was 1992. So it was
Mhm.
before everything got woke and PC and shit. So it was all good.
Yeah, the 90s, what, Desert Storm was 91?
Yeah. Yeah. Desert Shield started when I was in Okinawa. They put us on recall or on standby 4 times in four
Oof.
days. So we went to Naha Port. So we're at Camp Foster. You know, Okinawa is a small island anyway. So I'm at Camp Foster. They get us all ready. Okay, get all your shit together. Let's go. To haul us down there in the 5 tons, or deuce and a halfs, whatever. Sit on the deck, waiting for these ships, and then they cancel it.
Mm.
Go back at 2 in the morning. The next day, same fucking thing. And then they cancel it. Like, are we going or what? Because we're getting all excited, you know. And then they just stand
Yeah.
down, stand down. But anyway, yeah, we ended up our unit never got sent over there.
Oh, yeah,
So
well, it happens. It happened to me. It was like I was at the most deployed unit in the entire military. I was Rakkasan, like, and everybody in the army knows the Rakkasans, like everybody. It's like just like a poison thing.
nice.
Everybody's like, oh, Rakkasans. Like, so it's like the 101st, like most battle hardened unit, blah blah blah, something like that. And they deploy like every 6 months. Somehow, right when I got there, they said, "Hope you're ready to deploy," because right when you get to your unit, you're going right to Afghanistan. And I was like, "Shit, man!" And sure enough, right when I get there, they're like, "All right, don't get comfortable. You're going right to Afghanistan." And I was like, and then nothing happened. And then I was at the unit. Everybody came home. And then we started a training cycle back up. And they're like, "Hey, guys, get ready. We're even in 6 months, Afghanistan, like it's happening." And then I sat there like, "Oh, Afghanistan, like the real
Yeah,
deal."
yeah,
And they always had like, we were an air assault unit. So we jump out of helicopters. And that's what they did. All the guys come back. They'd be like, "Yeah, we did like 30 air assaults, 40 air assaults. This one time we kicked in this door and this dude blasted so-and-so in the face." And I'm like, "Shit, man, like I'm going to die over
yeah.
there." They're like, "You're probably going to die. We'll be honest. Like you're probably going to die." And I'm like, "Shit, dude." Kept talking. 3.5 years rolls around and everybody goes overseas. And I'm like,
What the fuck?
okay.
Yeah,
And, and that was it. I was like, all right, I guess I'll try again in the Guard and, get my, but, I'm kind of glad when they went over to Afghanistan while I was like on my way out, they really didn't do much. And I think I got more out of the African deployment. So it was like,
yeah,
kind of worked out. But so
yeah.
so you were where were you originally born? Like where are you from?
Cleveland, Ohio.
Oh, Cleveland.
So,
Okay.
well, Akron, but most people don't know Akron or, the small town I was next to it. But yeah, so Akron, Ohio, grew up there.
And where are you now?
I'm in South Carolina.
Oh, okay, so you
Yeah.
moved.
Yeah, yeah. We moved, been here 15 years. And my wife's parents lived down here for like 30 years.
Okay.
So my wife and I are both of our families are from up there. Actually, her dad's from Pittsburgh. And
Okay.
then moved to Ohio like when she was just a kid. And then, her dad worked at BF Goodrich since he was like 17. They
Jeez.
got bought out. Yeah. They got bought out by Michelin,
Mm-hmm.
years and years ago. They moved him down here. Well, he had a choice, whatever, but he moved down here in Greenville area. and then been down here ever since. So we were, my wife and I have 5 kids, been married 30 years. And for, after I got back from the military and moved back home to Ohio, we were driving down here with the kids 2, 3 times a year to visit.
Mm.
And I hate driving through West Virginia, bro. Fuck those mountains, especially in the wintertime.
Yeah, I would not do that. That's a pretty brutal drive.
It was rough. And I was working night shift. So I'm just like a fucking zombie. It's like I just never felt awake. Yeah, so we were driving out here and I love the area. Love the weather. I was tired of the snow.
Oh yeah.
Like y'all can have the snow. My mom and 2 sisters still live up in the same area in Ohio. And they're always like, "Are you going to come up here?" Nope. We're not moving back.
Yeah, that's where we're at as well. I just bought a house here, so I'm kind of stuck, but I will buy a house in Florida. That is my
There you go.
Or South Carolina. I'll be in North Carolina for Milsom West next weekend. I don't know if you're going to that.
I just got back from my first meal sim. You see my face is red as fuck. Yeah. I got raccoon eyes. So this is my first meal sim at Stonebreaker at GTI.
Stonebreaker, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hosted by Third Coast Airsoft.
Yeah, I heard good things about that.
Yeah. So we kind of a real quick history. We started our YouTube channel 3 years ago. I was coming out of being paralyzed with an illness and Guillain-Barré syndrome. Totally fine, 100%. And then 2 days later, 3 days later, you can't walk. So, and it takes for fucking ever to recoup. But
that's pretty nasty.
Yeah. So I was stuck at home. Once I was able to get out of bed and kind of, work on the computer and stuff, I was trying to figure out what to do. After my short-term disability ran out when I lost my job, after like 3 months, I wouldn't take government disability. I don't want anything from that.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way.
Yeah, dude.
Blah, blah, blah. No, I don't want it.
No, I don't want it, bro. So I started figuring out, like, what else can I do? So I started a couple YouTube channels before I started this one. And 2 of my sons started getting into airsoft 3 years ago. And I was like, "Hey, what do you got? What are you doing? Let me see that." And they said airsoft. I was like, "Oh, that's bullshit. Paintball's where it's at," because that's what I played when I got in the military. Yeah. And I was like, "Those little BBs don't fucking hurt. Get out of here." But anyway, I was just wanting something to do. So I was like, "Hey, let me film you guys with your guns, and we'll, whatever new gun you get, I'll film unboxing, whatever, and then we'll review it." And that's what we started out doing. And then so anyway, now I'm able to walk good enough to get out there with these guys. So I bought a press pass. So yeah. So I went around and just I walked kind of slow still, but I walked on the field wherever I could and just filmed, a bunch of the event this weekend. Got burnt as fuck. I'm looking in before we set up today, I was like, man, I was trying to change the lighting because my face looks like I'm fucking, out of breath or breathing heavy or like red as shit. It's like, no, that's the sunburn. But anyway, had a great time. We had good weather, slept in, camped out on the field, and yeah, really cool time.
Yeah, I'll have to watch this. I'm looking at your Stonebreaker 2022 streamed.
Yeah, I just did a few updates, basically just me blabbing on about what was going on.
Do you have you ever done a Milsim? You said this was your first Milsim event.
Yeah.
Okay. Does Stonebreaker, do they run 42 hours? Or is it like
that one, right, it's not continuous. But I think, I'm not sure if Third Coast hosts continuous ones. So the guys have been to, I think this is their 10th Milsim that they've been to in 3 years. And all different ones hosted by different, I think they've been to Valkyrie Airsoft, and I'm not sure who else, somebody else, some other company that they've been to a Milsim. They went to one that was continuous. It was 24 hour. And it was called the Vietnam event. It was down here in South Carolina at SKU, and it rained nonstop. I mean, like monsoon rain.
Vietnam, baby.
For real. It really was. Yeah. They were like, they were like, we're going to get trench foot, So, but that was their only, that was their only continuous one that they've been to.
Okay, yeah, the continuous, the Milsom West events, I think they're top of the line. I don't think anybody can compete with them. I'm just a huge Milsom West fan, but their events are tough. Like,
I've heard that.
they are tough events. So I just think, like moving into airsoft now, we've been talking about our past stuff for a while,
Sure.
but yeah, the Milsom West events are just top notch. They're true Milsom. I like the stops sometimes. Okay, we're going to stop the event, and then you go to sleep and you get back up and you have to report at 9, blah blah blah. But I really like the 42-hour events. They're like the real deal. And I was out in Oklahoma 2 weeks ago, and that was a tough event. Like the attrition rate was insanely high, and we, I love it. Like, I don't know what happens to me out there. I just go supernatural, and I don't sleep. I don't do anything. I'll
Get in
have
that zone, man.
Yeah, I just get that 1 or 2 hours of sleep on 1 hour of sleep on Friday night, 2 hours on Saturday night. It's like, and I just keep going. And on Saturday, everybody was so exhausted. I said, okay, I'm going to put Alpha Team. We were just smashing NATO. Like, it was really bad. And I said, okay, I'm going to put Alpha Team here, Bravo Team here, in the bushes here. I said, and then I'll be in the middle with our medic, and because I was a squad leader, and I was like, all right, so get a rotation going for your guys so that we don't get killed in our sleeping bags. And then halfway through the night, I hear Alpha Team over here like,
oh,
and then over here I hear, and then I'd hear, and I'd hear them, ooh, ooh. They'd all get shot in their sleeping bags, and then I'd grab my rifle and just start spraying it over my head because there's guys out there that are coming for us, and then a BB just goes right in between my eyes.
Oh, Jesus.
And it's Jet Desert Fox by himself.
No way.
He comes through my squad and just wipes us. And he has a whistle, and he's blowing it to wake up our whole team so we don't sleep. So he's like disturbing our sleep all night.
Oh my God.
And then my machine gun team, who happen to be awake on the opposite side of the road, just guns them down. And so we run over and we get a cool picture with them.
Oh, that's cool.
And it was and then he does it again. He comes around the other side. I hear him blowing this whistle and killing people in their sleeping bags.
Holy shit. What did he have nods?
Yeah, just a lot of people there have nods, and so it was like the next morning I see him, I'm like, hey Jet, I'm like, you killed me last night. You killed my whole squad in our sleeping bags. I don't know, there's something about those events, they just do shit right. Like, it's so realistic, and at night it's like any crack or anything you hear, you're like, oh man, I think that's somebody coming for me, and don't sleep, you're gonna get shot in your sleeping bags.
Yeah, senses are heightened, and that's cool.
It's like top of the line. But anyway, so what is TriFecta Airsoft? Like, where did you guys, you told me kind of where you started and stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And obviously you got a crap ton of subscribers here on YouTube. You said your kids got into it, which is really funny. Quick little side note on that. I did 3 days at a gun show the past weekend. Yeah. And the people had never seen anything like this in their life. I had this table set up magically with rifles, all our stuff, our ammo. We were wearing our BlueMag apparel with our shirts tucked in, very professional. I don't think anybody at this event had 2,000 tables, and nobody had seen anything like this, I think. But most of the guys came up with their sons, and they're like, what is this? I've never seen anything like this. And I had my YouTube videos playing on opposite sides of the table on big screens.
Nice.
They're just sitting there staring at it. They're like, what is this? And it always happens. They come up, the dad's like, I really want to buy this for my son. This is really cool. I'm like, are you sure you're buying it for him?
Right.
He's like, well, no, I don't do this. I'm like a big paintball guy, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, you know what they're going to do. They're going to buy it. Their son's not going to use it, and they're probably going to end up getting into themselves. Yep. So I just thought that was funny what you said. But
that is cool. Now, was this so the event, was that that was an actual a real gun show?
Gun show. We were the only ones in the whole place with a professionally presented airsoft stand, because there was one guy on the opposite side, and we went to check him out. and he had a couple airsoft guns, and we were like, so I was like, can you tell me about these? And he was like, I don't know, dude. They're like, they shoot like, and he picks up a bag of 12 grams. He's like, they shoot these little 12
Oh
grams.
God.
And I look at him, I'm like, thanks for your time. And I walk away, and I'm like, yeah, this guy's not competing with us. So,
Yeah, for real.
we're sitting there talking about hop-ups and HPA engines and this, and we're like, in this, and we have gas blowbacks, and we're ripping those into the air, and everybody's jumping around and looking at us, and we're just, and I think what I'm trying to do is pull the real gun community in, because I don't think they realize how effective it is for training.
Absolutely.
And so we did that very well. We were easily one of the most popular tables there. We had so many people. I mean, I was holding my piss for like 6 hours. It was like, so they won it.
Yeah, I hear you.
And
well, you know, one of my buddies I've done a podcast with, I actually met him through here. We both have YouTube channels, you know, chatted, I guess, through that. And we've talked a couple times. Gunfather Milsim. If you look his channel up, he is doing the same thing. His goal is the same thing. In fact, he says it all the time. He's like, I want to drag airsofters, you know, or, you know, real steel, like kicking and screaming into airsoft, or vice versa, you know, with the training, because of the, you know, you can use the training for both. He's been a SWAT officer for quite a few years in the Midwest, and you know, been a police officer for, I think, 13 years, sniper, that kind of thing. So a lot of really good training videos that he does on there. But he feels the same way you do with, you know, trying to kind of merge those two, and use the airsoft, you know, or get people using airsoft for training, not just plinking, but actual, like, get your gear set up, know how to set up your gear. You know, if you're going to go to a mil sim, you know, don't just throw shit in a tote and go out there and don't know where your stuff is on your belt, kind of thing. So, yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, I'll send him a message. I'm curious to see what he's about. I'm always about trying to partner with people that are have a similar mindset.
For sure.
But
so
yeah,
I had a few questions for you about your business. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying, you know, people want it. They want that realism set up. But
right.
So yeah, a trifecta. So tell me.
Oh, so we're nothing, man. We got like I said, we started, honestly, the reason I started the channel was pretty selfish. I just wanted something to do. I was going nuts being in the house. I'm, you know, always active kind of person up until then. I always stayed in shape and everything, and then, you know, whatever. But so I was just looking for something else to do. It seemed more interesting than the kitchen utensil reviews I was doing before that, because that's what I was doing. So, and then when I started the Airsoft channel, listen, when I did that, I had no clue anything about the Airsoft community. And there was just a flood of all these people like commenting. I never got that on these other channels, you know, like, I'm like, what? Oh my God, you know, because somebody will comment on you do a review on a blender, you know, for your kitchen. There, you know, you get the one mom, it's like, oh, how does it work like this? Or, oh, I like this one, I'm going to buy it, you know, like, okay, thanks, you know, like, so the Airsoft community was like, okay, I started feeling a part of it, just sitting right here, editing these videos and filming. And it was, you know, I had a really good time and felt that camaraderie right away. And I was like, bro, it saved me. It honestly saved me. Because I was on steroids. I was going, you know, I was sleeping 2 hours a day. You know, I was 325 pounds, swelled up. So anyway, because I had some complications with some of the treatment they tried. But anyway, so
we'll do that.
Yeah, yeah, bro. They had me on well, you know, if you have medical training, 60 milligrams a day of prednisone.
Yeah,
for a year.
That'll do a number.
And I was roid raging. I think a lot of it was just being angry at my situation, you know, feeling sorry for myself, and just pissed. So I was constantly looking for something to do. That's really what, you know, how the channel started. And then these guys got involved. So two of my sons, one of their good friends that got them into Airsoft to begin with. So so we started doing more and more. We were putting out like 3 videos a week our first year. And because that's all I did was sit here and edit. I'd film, edit, film, edit, film, edit. That was it.
Mhm.
So I had this new passion and this new, purpose. And so I was balls to the wall, like constant. and,
Okay, yeah.
so,
So you had the
and then,
time.
yeah, it was a lot of, yeah, you know how it is. If you've ever, worked on your own videos, it can be very
Yeah.
time consuming, you know.
Yeah, if you saw that last one, that sauce video I just put up of a counterattack sauce, that was like I mean, that was me up till 1 a.m., then going to work in the morning and then coming home and then editing. I mean, it was so much work. You got 3 days of footage. Like, you
Oh,
have to sync them
Jesus.
all up. People don't
Yep.
understand how much work it is.
Mm.
It's insane.
Well, when these guys went to their first meal sim, I was on their ass about more content, more content. So
Mm.
we got GoPros and we got scope cams.
Oh,
So I'm
yeah.
like, the run cams. So I'm like, get all this footage. Make sure your batteries are in, charged. Make sure your camera's turned on. This kind of thing. Give me everything, and film while you're on the way there. B-roll stuff on the way there, talking about it, loading the truck. Shit like that. Coming back. So they come back from their first meal sim. I don't know, man. It was like 24 straight hours of GoPro videos, their phone videos. They're like, and I'm not there.
Yeah.
So when I start editing the gameplay video and the scope cam video, I've got to watch literally every second
Yeah.
because a
So,
firefight might
yeah.
only happen for like 5 seconds.
Mhm.
I
Like
can't skip
one
through
shot
because I
of
don't
a
want to
dude
miss it.
picking his head up and then a BB hitting it, and you got to
Yes,
find that in there.
I'm telling you. So I'm like, I mean, it took me like a week of nonstop, editing. I'm like, okay, this is a little more. I guess I got what I asked for. But anyway,
Mhm.
that's and of course the learning process or the learning curve with editing, learning how to edit. So it's been a lot of transitions we've gone through with our channel. We tried green screens. Oh man, once I learned a new effect, I was like, that's what I used,
Yeah.
all the time. So I'm like, doesn't this look cool? And they come in and watch it and they're like, that's stupid. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, well, let me redo it. But anyway, so yeah, it's been that's all our channel is, man. It's these guys going to do what they love to do. Me asking for footage, and then we'll all get together and do unboxings, and then those guns we get out of those boxes, mystery boxes, we'll do reviews on.
Mhm.
So I had experience with handling the weapons once I was able to hold one. Then and shooting them in the backyard. We got like an acre lot or whatever. We have some space we can just
Right.
set up and shoot. And but I never had played with these guys. I always just filmed and edited.
Sure. Sure.
So yeah, so that's kind of where our channel's gone. I think the only reason I don't think our videos are that interesting, to be honest, because I'm not shitting. I think the only reason we have like a lot of subs because people ask me like, how'd your channel? I don't fucking know, bro.
Yeah, you
Uh,
really, I mean, it says channel created him here. I'm looking March of 2019. And,
mm-hmm.
for me, I've had my channel for about, I guess almost probably about like 11 months now. And I'm coming on 500 subscribers right now. Like,
Nice.
so it's like, I'm impressed. You guys, 12,000 subscribers in a couple of years is pretty good. Like,
I
so
think
you're doing
the
something
only
there.
thing I can think of is, well, dude, we always talk about this. Friends of mine, like, go start an Instagram. People start Instagram accounts, like, or even a brand new one,
Mhm.
and you can get 1,000 followers on Instagram in like a couple months.
Oh,
Now
yeah.
go start a YouTube channel and try to get some shit. Like, it's hard. But I think I set up a website the very first week we started our channel. And
Mhm.
I did all this, I did a lot of research because I had all this time to read and about the Google SEO, the search engine optimization thing. So I linked on the back end of our website, I linked tag words to our website. So anytime somebody, Google's Airsoft or TriFecta or, anything of the combination, our channel comes up on the first page of Google.
Mm.
So, or our website does. So, and then I have our, YouTube videos linked on our website. So I think that's why we get a lot of subs. Like, we still keep getting them, but our views are shit. I'm like, somebody's like, oh, you got a big channel. I'm like, no, listen, nobody watches our shit, bro. So,
They are, yeah.
yeah,
The
it's horrible.
airsoft podcasts are not that popular. I don't know why. I guess maybe it's the topics
Yeah.
are off or something. But I'm looking at some of your stuff, 41 views, 70 views. Like
Yep.
I don't know why the podcasts just have. I guess maybe nobody's done them right yet. I don't know. I
Yeah,
think
I don't
people just
either.
wanna, they want to watch gameplay videos and they want to watch like special unboxings and stuff. But for some reason, it's just that the content of it's somebody's going to do it right here. Like
Yeah, for real.
there was this one guy, forget I was watching him on YouTube, and they had a live session going, a live podcast. I think it's called Airsoft and Coffee or something.
Hmm.
So I hopped in it and I'm watching. There's like 4 people watching it, and they're just talking about nonsense. And I'm like, and then I comment, I say, hey, you guys are doing a great job. I'm like, oh, BlueMag Airsoft, thanks so much, blah, blah, blah. And I sit there and I'm like, okay, let me tough through this for a minute. And I'm just like, oh, God, this is painful. And they're just not what we've got to figure it out in the community. Like,
For real.
more traffic because, I like your stuff. I've actually watched quite a few of your podcasts, like the one with Little Miss Airsoft, because I met her
Oh yeah.
out where I was playing, and we were going to send them BBs. I don't know what happened there, but so she has a big following on TikTok and Instagram and whatnot. But you can see it only has 41 views. Like,
Yep. Well, now I will say right. So the views on YouTube, they don't get a whole lot anyway. And airsoft is a niche. It's like
yeah,
it's kind of a if it's not really good action, like kicking Mustang, the scope thing where you
yeah,
can see that keeps your attention,
correct.
But somebody running with a GoPro on their helmet, running through, and you can't see the BB hitting the people, but they got hit. You can only watch that for, 5 times before you're like, okay, now what,
Boring.
So it's just kind of this thing that it doesn't get a lot of, a lot of hits anyway. But, I think, our podcast, like I put all of our podcasts, I stripped the audio and put them on Spotify, iTunes, every, podcast app out there. And we actually get more listens on the audios than we do views on the podcast. So, a lot of people, a lot of people message me saying, hey, thank you for, putting on whatever so I can listen to it while I'm driving or at work or whatever. So,
okay, yeah, that's definitely keep me. I didn't know that. I would like to look into that because I don't mess around. I don't listen to Joe Rogan or anything like that. When my friends do, I always sit there, but I'll have to look into that. Okay, so what you're telling me is that your channel started of you guys just you were just able to get out a large volume of content because you had time.
yeah.
And so now that's what you're doing now. Do you feel like at some point here in the future you'll actually be able to get out and play?
Well, that's my hope. I mean,
Mhm.
I don't, well, you're the same way. If somebody says, hey, you can't do this, I'm like, fuck you, bitch. So and no doctors have told me that. It's, because after the treatments I had and after that kind of led to a bunch of other issues, I'm like, I'm not going back. So
Mhm.
I'll rehab myself. And, I mean, this helps. So with my mental state anyway, but, yeah, I'm hopeful that I will. I mean, this was the longest or farthest and most continuous time that I've walked at this 3-day event, since I got sick, a few years ago. So, really, happy to be able to do that. So yeah, I'm very hopeful, that I'll be able to do that.
I've seen quite a few patients get to that point with Guillain-Barré, and I mean, it's definitely one like you definitely can get there, especially if you're already out there doing press passes. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a big deal.
And, I don't mind if I fall down. Like,
Mhm.
I don't care. Like, I'm not going to stay in here. I'm not going to use a walker. I'm just going to you know, bro, I fell down the steps. I fell in the bathroom. I fell in the shower. I fell at work. I fell, like, I don't care, you know, wherever, you know, help my son move or whatever. Uh, hey, pick me up. I don't care. I'm just going to keep on going. The knees get calluses on them. It's fine. You know, but
That's a good attitude to have.
yeah, I don't like being sad, man, you know, or angry. I like being happy. So just kind of keep moving on something, you know, find a purpose to move towards, and keep it fun, because, you know, you got to have work. You got to have work. In my opinion, I teach all my kids this, you know, discipline equals happiness, or work equals happiness. Like, you can't,
JACKAL, like, you know.
right. Exactly. 100%.
Discipline discipline is freedom, which I'm sure you
Freedom.
listen to Jocko a lot.
I do.
He's
Check.
like my go-to for leader. Once I read that book overseas, actually I read it before I went overseas, and thank God, because it completely changed the way I lead.
Yeah.
And I had that traditional army ego going, and
Oh, I did too,
I completely turned around. And my guys I deployed with, most of them were older than me. I had the guys in their 30s and stuff, and I realized that if I just removed my ego and just had the discipline to do that, that I would be a highly successful leader, and I was. And now I bring that into airsoft, because I do see a little bit of toxicity in airsoft, similar to the military. These guys with these chips on their shoulders, and you're like, oh man.
Slow down, killer. It's okay.
Yeah. Like, I was at Milsom West 2 weeks ago, and my guys, we're militia forces. We're like cannon fodder. So I was like, hey, you guys just go chill over in the trees over here. It's at night. It's like 2 a.m. I'm like, just go lean against the trees over there. And they're over there just chatting and bullshitting. This machine gun team in front of me, the dude's dipping, throws his dip out, turns around and goes, hey, shut your fucking mouths. And I look at him and I'm like, who do you think you're talking to? And he's like, I'm talking to the effing a-holes that won't shut their mouths. And I'm like, bro, you're talking to the wrong person. And I'm like, that's no way to treat somebody in airsoft or in real life. I'm like, would you talk to anyone like that outside of this little game world? And he kind of just put his head down. I'm like, mother, like, chill the F out, man. He was just said this. Like, I'm here. I'm running the show. I'm like, bro, we are running out of toy guns. Like, not necessary. And so
Absolutely.
I do see that toxicity here and there, and I really try and squash it out, because
there was one moment during this mil sim that I was at. I'm right in the middle of the action. So I was talking to the leader of right when they were getting it staged in there, you know, after the formation and the briefing, they all got to their staging points or whatever, you know, and they were doing a countdown. So I was up there talking to Sal, the guy that started Third Coast Airsoft, that runs these events. And we're talking, we introduce each other, you know, ourselves, whatever. And we're talking for a few minutes, and there's this big open area by the building, and there's like a big bus. So we're standing by the bus, and that's when it started. So when it started, you know, shit starts flying. Well, there's like a small hill, and this one team runs up, and there's this hard charging dude like that. He comes up and he gets to the top, and he starts yelling down to the other guys, like screaming at them, come on, get over here. We got to go to this corner. Hurry. Like, for like 2 minutes, not one person listened to him, and he finally shut up. It's like, oh, dude.
You know, hey guys, come on, let's go, you know.
Right.
Sure. But you're telling people, get your fucking asses over here. Fuck you. And you're like, all right.
Why are you taking so fucking long? Come on, you know.
Yeah. And you're like, oh my God, calm down. Like, different when it's let's go, come on, you know, like, totally different. But
right. Yeah, there is a difference with the leadership like that, you know, being a leader, motivating your team, and just being an asshole. But
yeah, that's how it is. That's how they think, though. It's the same way in the military. The bigger your ego, the more people will hate you, but you don't know that. You just care about protecting your ego, and that transitions over to airsoft sometimes. And I really see it. I hate to say it, I see it in teams, like teams such as you know, I'm not going to say anything because obviously, you know, this, I don't want to put bad names, but there are teams, a lot of them I see, they kind of have their backs turned, and they kind of like just have that, and they create this huddle around themselves, They don't
Yeah.
bring in new players. They don't try to, at BlueMag, we don't care. We want to bring everybody in. We
You
kids,
want more targets, bro.
yeah.
Like you
It
got to
won't
have more
bother.
people getting in the sport.
Yeah, so that's our goal. We want everybody. We don't have a team where it's like you
Yeah.
have to be part of BlueMag. We have a partnership program. We limit that to 15 people every season because we do seasons.
Gotcha.
And so we already have a full list for season 2. Like we're already filled up. So it's not like like I would love to take everybody, but unfortunately it's just a business thing. I have to cut it off at some point. But
right.
We would every season we take 15 new people, teams, whatever. And I find the teams are the most toxic. I really don't want to work with them because they have that mentality. They want to just stay enclosed. I had guys at Milsom West. They're like, we're not going to work with you guys because we're going to do our own thing. And you're like, it's a Milsom. You have to work with the platoon. And it's a whole squad of 12 guys. And they say, we're not going, we're going to run off and do our own thing.
Oh, Jesus.
You can't do that. And we'll sit there and we'll say, you can't do that. This is a Milsom. And they'll literally say F you. And
oh my God.
Say, okay, all right, I'm done. And then you let them do their thing. And usually they'll get kicked out of the event for that. And then they point fingers back at Milsom West. And it's like, so I see this. I don't like that at all. In fact, I'd like to be against the teams just so I can teach them a lesson.
Right.
Like, if you watch some of my videos, I always go to Milsom West by myself or with one other person, and I always join a random group of guys so that way we can all come together and I can show people that as long as you have good leadership, you can create a strong unit that's better than a team that has crappy leadership.
Yeah.
And I always do it at every event. We're always like, my squad's always the most effective. Everyone's like, you guys are really like, you're always good on ammo. You guys are always ready to go. And I do that at all in weekend plays. I always see teams, these SEAL Team 6 guys.
Right.
And I'll go and I'll be like, I'm going to go on the other team and I'm going to rally the rentals and I'm going to hammer these guys.
Right.
And I'm going to make sure they lose today so that they get taught a lesson. And I don't know why. That's just awesome. How I am. I like the underdog stuff.
Well, speaking of teams, how did you come up with your business team that's listed on your website? Because,
So we've been talking for a while. We should probably get down to some of these questions.
Oh, no, man. I just, I was curious because you've got a handful of people, you got 3 people on your business team. It looks like from your website anyway. I'm sure you have more that work with you, but those, you've got some people in key positions and it looks like you've got, you're set up for a really, good success, I guess, for your business. Yeah, you got some smart people on your team.
Yeah, I really do. I think that I've just been fortunate enough with, I have some brilliant people, part of my team. And I think, I bring a lot of experience. That's just how I am as the owner, as the CEO. And I'm not in here to do like, little airsoft, we have some mega big plans. Like we're not here to do little stuff and say, we're going to make BBs and just like everybody else. No, we're here to completely change the sport. And we're here to build an empire. That's what we're here to do. Mm-hmm. We want to squash out all this little stuff. Like for instance, you really think that Airsoft GI or evike.com, that they couldn't take a majority of their profits and build the greatest frickin' field anyone's ever seen?
Absolutely.
Of course they could do that. They easily could, but they just don't because they're too caught up in the business aspect of it.
Right.
And they kind of forgot where they come from. And I get it. They're the leaders. They bring in the stuff. They can do it. Anybody can do that, but can you lead the community to the next level, which is for us, our long-term goal is we're going to build a hard structure field that is going to have 3-story concrete. You've trained on mount sites before, the Marines.
I have not.
Oh, okay. Well,
no, those weren't a thing when they were still teaching. I went in 89, so they were still teaching us jungle warfare from Vietnam. I'm not even kidding. We didn't do any CQB.
That's like nowadays it's, what I did all my training on was like military operations in urban terrains. All I did. Is
that what that stands for? Because I was talking to Radar just a couple weeks ago, and he kept talking about, this one site is a And I'm like, what the fuck
Yeah.
is that? He's like, because he was in the Marines as well,
Yep.
and switched over to Air Force, and he thought that I knew, and I'm like, bro, I'm old. No,
Yeah.
I went in when they were still teaching jungle warfare shit.
Well, yeah, John, I would like to do something similar, but that's a little bit more difficult. But I want to, I want hard structure. I don't want this plywood BS anymore. I don't want plywood leaning against a
You don't
tree.
like pallets? What's wrong with you?
Pallet. The Titman castles, and they have a castle. Castle's not realistic. Like, can we please? And then they randomly just throw barrels in the middle of the street, and you're like, no, but this cover doesn't exist in real life. Like,
Yeah.
none of this does. So we want to create a franchise of fields that we can put. We'll start where we're at here now, and we'll plant one here. We'll do about 50 acres, and we're going to build a small city of multiple real hard structured things with furniture inside and the real deal stuff that actually exists in the real world, not this plywood. I hate to use some fields as a bad example, but I've already bashed some of them on my YouTube channel. If you watch some of them,
How dare you?
yeah. But I think they know it. They don't care. They're making money, so that's what they care about.
Right.
But Outdoor Extreme up here. Watch my video on YouTube. I forget. I think it's called "Get Stoned at Your Local McAirsoft Field."
Oh shit.
Yeah, because I have a stoner
Oh,
LMG.
nice. Right.
And I go out and I go to a different field every weekend or a different event. Like, I have a whole schedule. And I just went to this place, and there's not 12-year-olds, probably 16, 15-year-old kids running the show there.
Wow.
I love kids. Sure, bring kids in the sport. But
Lord
if
of
kids
the
are
Flies,
running the
baby.
show, they're doing chrono, their friends are there. I'd walk up to the chrono shoot, and they'd go, I guess you're good. And I'd be like, do you know what
Oh
that
my
means?
God.
And they would be like, look, I don't even know. And I'd be like, all right,
Holy
forget
shit.
it. So they just didn't care. All these kids would run around with their heads cut off, pretty much just plywood smashed against trees in the woods. And I'm like in a full multi-cam ready to murder terrorist kit. And these kids are just running around in sweatpants and sneakers. And I'm like, who runs this place? Like, who lets this happen?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like that at most places. If you go to a weekend place, it's like that. And I just think we could do better. And so that's what I want to do, is build it. Like, that's our long term. I'm giving us plenty of time, which is like 7 to 8 years to get this first hard structure field that will be the place to go. Like, this is a mount site. They have vehicles every weekend. They run MILSIM operations where there's 2 vehicles. There's Delta companies on either team. There's a combat outpost here. This unit gets stationed here. This unit, run it like the military. And that's, I know that stuff. And
it works.
That's how they do it at MILSIM West. And they're so good at doing it because the guy's a prior ranger that runs it, who actually went overseas and did shit. So he knows how it operates. When you go into combat, it's not fast paced like people think. It is welcome to your forward operating base. You're going to sit here, unpack all your stuff. You're going to set up your sleep system wherever you're sleeping. Then we're going to get a guard rotation going. Alpha or third squad, you guys are going to go out on a mission tonight, out launch from the forward operating base. And you're going to conduct raids, blah, blah, blah. At second squad, your own guard rotation. And then third squad, you're going to go out and you're going to launch a raid. And then this is your hub where you launch from.
Yeah.
That's extremely realistic. Overseas, it's COPs, combat outposts, forward operating bases. You launch from those places. There's not like this front line thing anymore. That doesn't exist. Right. So warfare's changed, and that's what I want to do. I want to make that a weekend thing. Like, maybe once a month, do a Saturday, do a Sunday MILSIM, 32-hour event or something where each team has a Delta company, which is heavy weapons, which is on trucks. And you have 2 trucks, and you have to capture the gas station because the gas station legitimately has fuel. And you need to fuel up your trucks or else you don't have armor. And, we should set up our combat outpost at this 3-story hotel building because it's good defensible positions. Everyone bring your rucks in there, dump your rucks, get security set up, and then we'll launch missions from there. And maybe we can take 3 squads and we can go hammer the enemy combat outpost and do some real shit. Not do this like, okay, 40 on 40, go. I think we could do better. And people know, I talk to some of the owners at Extreme Airsoft, and I'm talking to this one guy, and he's literally blowing smoke in my face, like smoking a cigarette. And I'm sitting there talking to him about my stuff. I'm like, here, this is my brand. These are my goals or better. And he's literally going, and I'm like, can you not blow smoke in my face? And he's like, yeah, I'll take a look at your website. And I'm like, this guy is our leadership around here? Like, he's got 100 acres, probably pulling in like close to 40, 50 grand a month. And you can't build a freaking concrete structure.
Wow.
So somebody's got to do it right. And that's our entire goal. Right now, we're starting small with our ammo, which we've exploded over the last 2 months.
Yeah.
Because our website's very professional. Our pictures are all proprietary. Everything we do is proprietary. We built it ourselves. We put it together ourselves.
Right.
And
well, I was going to ask you, how is business going since you started, and what's the biggest obstacle you've run into so far?
Well, the biggest obstacle is supply chain. Where the business is thriving. We're out of stock of 3.2s. We'll be out of stock of 3.0s probably in the next 3 days, which I'm very upset about. As the owner of the company, I made a decision in January to our stock was coming in, and something in the back of my mind just said, I know this market. I've been playing airsoft since I was 12 years old, and I was like, something tells me that I'm doing this right, and we're going to fly off the shelves. And I said, I need to place another order right now. And I didn't. I waited. I said, we'll wait for the product to get here. We'll inspect it, make sure it's what we want.
Right.
And then, sure enough, within the first month, we're sold out. And I'm like, son of a bitch. So I went ahead, placed a second order for a crap ton of ammo, which will be here in about 3 weeks. To resupply us, and then we're not making that mistake again. So I already have another order ready to go, which will be placed this week. Now, supply chain issues, to answer your original question, that's what we have to overcome, which at BlueMag, we're going to make our own. We're not dealing with China or Taiwan anymore.
Right.
That's what really separates us, is if you heard in some of the other podcasts, what we say in our videos is we're going to be making our own.
Yeah.
Here in the U.S. Nobody else does it. And that's kind of hard. You maybe think about it, you do your research, you find out that pretty much there's 4 factories in the world that make these, and they're all the same.
Yeah.
Which, it's funny to me when people send me emails, they say, Austin, the quality of your BBs was so amazing, and it's way better than HPA or Elite Force. And I'm like, absolutely. Yes, they are. And it's not that they don't know. They just, they don't realize that it's, there's not a lot of people that make it. So.
Mostly come from the same place. Yeah.
Correct. All same factory. So there's no real difference. That's why HPA has this big thing, and they're actually based out of South Jersey. So they're kind of our primary competitor because we're only about an hour away from each other.
Okay.
And they have this, advertised more biodegradable than other BBs. It's like, get the hell out of here.
Oh, Jesus.
So.
Yeah.
I just, they're all the damn same. So I don't know, maybe they're doing something a little different with their laboratory stuff, but I don't think it's anything to.
They let them sit in the parking lot in the sun for 2 days before they bottle them. So now it's 2 days earlier that they're going to biodegrade. That's what it is. Okay.
It's something like that.
Right.
So I don't know, but I know the factory they're coming from, and it's.
Right. It's all the same.
So.
Well, that was actually what caught my attention, I guess, when I heard you on the first live stream that I heard you on, was your business goals. Wow, this guy's you got your shit on lockdown. You got some good goals. You already know, you've done some research, and like I said earlier, you've got a really good business team that you're working with. Yeah. That looks like so. That is, you're set up for some good stuff, and you're willing to put in the work. I heard, I was watching one of your other videos on your Instagram. I think you were talking to somebody from Havoc, and you were talking about how you had to go pick up a pallet of BBs in your truck to the port. I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, that's commitment. I mean,
Yeah, that's it. And I just had to do it. I had my first order already in for like a quarter of my shipment from a field. Um, and I said, and they ordered it, and I said, yeah, we'll get, the pallet. And they kept nagging me. They said, look, we really want to work with you, but if you can't get us this ammo this weekend, and I was like, I've got to do what I got to do here. So I went up, grabbed a friend. I said, look, it's going to be early. We're going to leave it here at 2 a.m. I know it's already like 10 p.m. We're going to get a truck and we're going to go up there and we're going to figure this out. And I went up to the port and no idea what I was doing, but I'll tell you what, it gave me some perspective on the supply chain and how fragile it is. Most owners of their own company don't pick up their own product.
no.
And if they were smart, they would heed my warning, which is, oh, yeah, this guy, he's so naive. He's 28 years old. What does he know? But I do know because I picked up my shit. Like, I saw the ports. I saw how jam-packed they were. And it's like, it's borderline about to break. And when it breaks, it's going to be real bad. And everyone says, oh, no, it'll never happen. There's too much money involved in it. And I agree. But
Yeah.
COVID changed a lot of stuff. And they were so shorthanded at this mega warehouse. People were so rude. There were 15 booths open for truckers. And there was one person behind the counter. One.
Holy
And
shit.
there was a line out the door, and there were trucks wrapped around the building. And I'm sitting there interviewing truckers. I just went down the line. I'm like, tell me about this. Like, just talk to me. And they start saying, well, I've been doing this for 15, 20 years, blah, blah, blah. I've never seen it like this. It takes me 4 or 5 days to get an order out of here, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like,
shit.
I'm like, okay. So you're telling me that if the airsoft industry is only coming from the West out there in China, if this snaps remotely, we're done. Like, we're not getting ammo anymore. So somebody's got to get ahead of this to get the sport here. Which Wolverine, I don't know if you know Wolverine Systems.
Yeah, I've heard of them.
Their MTW, their modular training weapon. Everything they have, is made here in the U.S. now, as of like a year ago, and they make.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know it either. But I support their product wholly. They make their own HP, and it's expensive as shit. They're like $800.
Yeah.
But man, they're nice. They're real steel.
Yeah.
They're made here in the USA, and sure they source some components, but like, so I'm going to buy one because they're made in the USA and they're quality, and I want to support that. And if we could just get the ammo here, which you'd think it's real easy to make, which it's very proprietary, so I can't talk about it too much.
Sure.
But I have some very smart people. You can see I have my lead engineer is very is MF and mechanical.
Did you know any of these guys before you started the business? Yeah.
Yeah, my friend Alex, I've been friends with him since I was like 13, and we've literally been playing airsoft for that long. So a real smart guy. And then Erin, who's my PhD in biochem, she's actually my wife.
Oh shit. Oh, okay.
So
well, dude, yeah, you're hooked up.
Yeah, she's very smart, brilliant girl, and she's involved in this. She's my chief technology officer.
Right.
So we have an interesting relationship because she actually she doesn't play airsoft.
Right.
I've got her out just to say this is the sport you need to play at least once so you know what it's about. So I threw her a ghillie suit and told her to stay in the bushes. But,
oh, that's awesome.
But she designs pretty much everything that we need for making BBs and doing X, Y, and Z. And I can say, look, can you 3D print me this? And she'll just done.
Oh, that's awesome.
Genius. And then Simeon, I've also been friends with him for a long time. Really brilliant guy as well. He's a nuclear engineer. And so I just have all these super smart people that are surrounding. I think we can get it done. Everyone keeps telling me it's impossible. You can't do it. You can't do it. You can't do it. And I'm like, the biggest thing I hear, I was in Ballahack. You know Ballahack?
Yes.
I was just at their field last weekend, and I was in the store with them, and I was handing them my card. Their eyes lit up when I said U.S. made BBs. And the one dude kind of crossed his arms. He goes, yeah, we tried that. And I'm like, you did? And he's like, yeah, we tried it. It's too expensive. So, good luck with you guys. I don't think you'll be able to do it, but, we tried it. And I'm like,
Bro,
I think he did a quick little Google search and then just gave up. So,
absolutely. Yeah.
so it's very,
Haven't these guys heard of the 4-minute mile? I mean,
yeah.
they never read that story. Like, what the hell?
I don't know if but just for some reason, it's interesting because when I go to the experts to consult them about how to do this, the answer, I always get calls on a daily basis. Some dude, yo, I found the guy. And I'm like, you found the guy? He knows, bro. He knows. And I'm like, oh, I'm so glad, dude. He knows. He knows.
Thank God. Oh.
Yeah. And 2 days later, I'll get a call back. I'll give him samples of what I need. I'll get a call back. Yeah, dude, he doesn't know. He has no idea. And I'm like, of course he doesn't. It's never been done here in the U.S.
Yeah.
Nobody knows a damn thing about this.
Yep.
And so we're doing it from literal scratch on how to make these things. And we have a whole proprietary process. And here's the cool thing that I think a lot of people will appreciate, which, I've posted prototypes on my Instagram of the blue tracers.
Yeah.
If you saw those.
Yep.
Those are cool as shit. And people want them, and they've just all the emails I get is blue tracers, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Like, look, they're coming. Just give us time. Like, we're gonna get super creative. IR tracers with night vision, stuff that sparkles when it shoots under nods. Like, cool shit that the Chinese and Taiwan, if you ask them to make it, they just tell you to F off.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to, and they don't have the creativity to do it.
Well, and they don't think there's a market for it.
Exactly. They don't know. They
Right.
don't know because they don't play airsoft and they don't get it.
They know how to manufacture this shit.
Correct.
And that's it.
So and then the red tracers. Where the hell did red tracers go? Can't even get that at 32 or 36. Milton West, I gave Josh my card, the owner, and I said, I can get you red tracers. And his eyes kind of lit up. He's like, red tracers? And I'm like, yeah, because they want red tracers for their realistic Milsim events, because nobody really runs green tracers. It's all red. So if you can get red tracers issued out, then at nighttime at the firefights, you can get red hot tracers.
Yep.
Yeah, cool as shit.
Yeah.
So he's always saying that he can't get them because of supply chain issues and nobody makes them anymore. So we'll be making red and green tracers, the only people doing it in 36, 40 grams, 45 grams, heavyweight stuff.
Gotcha.
Which snipers want, and they can't shoot tracers. So we're doing a lot of entry, and then we'll also be making our own tagging rounds. I don't know if I should say that, but that's
shit.
Yeah.
I swear, dude, I'm not even joking. At this last event this past weekend, everyone's talking about how, they can't get tag-ins in it right now because, Russia, it's a Russian company, whatever. Yeah. And I swear I told one of my sons, I said, that BlueMag Airsoft, they're talking about making all their shit over here. I hope they make grenades.
Yeah.
Because of that conversation came up.
Yeah, literally, like, I have an entire setup behind me with our 3D printer and stuff, and we're on top of it.
Nice.
We'll be getting them. I couldn't give you a timeline for that, but I do know that we will get prototypes out here pretty soon to hand out to the community to test for us.
Dude, people would be stoked for that shit.
Yeah. You're telling me, it's like people are like, dude, if you could even get me something that semi-works, I'll give you thousands of dollars. And
for real.
Like, which all of that, that financial stuff is going to help us get to, because to build a mount site, we're talking, I budgeted it out at about $3.5 million to build. I was
going to say millions. Yeah.
So, but I think it's no problem. I mean, you have more than millions of airsofters out there. And if everybody, at one point, I'm going to open up the floodgates once we have more followers. We're a few years down the road and we've got the finances together. I'm going to reach out to the community and say, good, whatever you can give to us, and we will build you this, and then we will build them everywhere. We will franchise them and build you these towns, these crazy, realistic miniature cities, and then we can change the sport and turn it into a very highly realistic environment.
Yeah, that's cool. I was going to ask you if you had a Kickstarter or maybe something like it to where people can get involved, and I guess how could the airsoft community help the best right now for you guys to get off the ground?
the best thing to do is just buy our ammo. That's like the best thing. You know, we're not here to make money. We're obviously we got to pay our staff. You know, we got to do shit.
Well, you're
But
in business. You have to. Yeah.
you know, I only work. You know, I quit my job in the ER as a nurse, and then I work at a private practice only about 24 hours a week, and then everything else I do is I come home and I do BlueMag, and it's like nonstop. And I have,
7 days.
you know, I have the stamina for it. Like, you know, I did 36 hours over this weekend at the gun show, and I didn't move. I mean, I stood there and sold and sold and sold and sold so much shit. And I maybe took a piss and maybe had a bite of like a muffin. Like, you know, there's one person that's going to do it. I think I can make it happen. Like to get it to get us to this hard structured field. You know, I'm not trying to toot my own horn or anything, but I just know there's just something inside of me that's like, I can do that. Like, I can make that happen. So
you got the drive and the vision. So you just, the things will fall in place, because all the shit behind is, you know, or on the side is all logistics. That's easy to figure out. You got to have somebody at the front that says, here's what we're doing, you know, let's figure it out. And then you get smart people around you to go, yep, I can do that. Yep, I can do, you know.
Correct. Yeah.
And it looks like that's what you're doing. So
yeah, I've really got some smart people behind me, and it's a little difficult to convince people, you know, sit down with some of my staff members and say, look, within the next year, if I'm able to pay you X amount per year, would you quit your job and do this full time? And they're like, no. And I'm like, why are you doing it? Like, I'm going to need you here full time pretty soon. And I promise you it'll be, you know, you'll be making more money, or you'll be having a more enjoyable life here down the road if we can get this going. And so it's been a little difficult to get people moving. You know, you can't convince somebody who's got their master's in engineering that's been working at the Navy Yard to quit their job, you know?
Well, sure. And well, you guys are fairly new as well. And it is difficult for most people to have that kind of vision, to say, you know, or I guess belief, you know, or faith, like, no, this will work. We're going to make it work. It's just going to take some time. Like, you got to go through some difficult, you know, I mean, most people know, you probably know since you started a business, you know, most businesses are not in the red, you know, they're in the red for the first 5 years.
Correct.
That's kind of like a standard across the board rule. But, you know, that doesn't mean everyone is, you know, all the time. But that's, you know, you got, basically that just lets you know up front, hey, you got to do a bunch of work before you see results. And that goes for everything in life. Whether you start a new nutrition program and workout program, you're not going to lose, you know, 50 pounds that it took you 5 years to gain. You're not going to lose that in 2 weeks. You know, people get discouraged, you know, same kind of thing. But you got
it's discipline. Like, you know, it all goes back to discipline.
Right. Set your plan in motion, follow the steps to your, you know, to your goals, have short-term goals, long-term goals, and quit getting discouraged, you know, because you got sidetracked for one little thing, you know?
Yeah, you're exactly right when you say that. It was, you know, when I first started out, I had ordered a shipment, and I was talking to some business guys I met at a field, and they were really interested in what I was doing. So I did an interview with them, and next thing I know, I feel like I'm on Shark Tank, and these guys were just like grilling me, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, you know, this is what I'm going to do, you know, regardless of what you guys say. And they're sitting there basically convincing me that my idea is stupid, that you're not going to make, why would you go into the BB market? Like, there's so many other people, like, you're never going to sell this. Like, this is dumb. And I just, you know, completely ignored them. And it was tough to get started, because you buy $10,000 worth of BBs and you have them come into your house. Like, are you going to be, you know, think about that. How can you sell ammo when you have Elite Force, HPA, the E-Vike has their own brand, all the G&G, like, how can you compete with that? And, you know, I got discouraged there for a while. I was like, I'd get really upset. I'd be like, I don't think, you know, I talked to my staff. I'd be like, guys, I don't think we're going to sell one bottle in like 6 months. Yeah. And they were like, maybe you're right, you know. And I'd sit there, and it was like just back and forth with me. And once the order came in, and I had the website ready to launch, and I just went at it. And I'm telling you, like I said, I went out of stock in on most, like I'm hanging on by a thread here. Like,
Yeah.
and it's
Well,
good.
that's the balance, you know.
Yeah.
It is a good problem to have, but I've seen, you know, other businesses too, like in the last 5 years that, you know, startups where they have a great product. Their marketing sucks, but they have great product. I remember watching this one guy. I can't remember the name of the company, but they came out with some really badass portable chargers for like mobile device, you know, your phone or whatever, tablets and stuff. This thing was powerful enough to like, you know, charge your car battery like 5 times or some shit. So really great product. But they did some marketing, or they did some ads. They paid for ads, and they couldn't keep up with production. And for long enough to where people got disinterested, they just wanted their money back, and then they lost investors, and then, you know, like it just, like it all blew up, and they were all excited, and then it just fucking caved in. So, you know, it's it's a tough balance. But I'm telling you, man, the thing you have going for you is loyalty. The thing that people here in America, airsoft, what I've seen on the outside looking in, as I'm not an airsofter because I haven't played on the field yet.
Well,
I mean, I am, and I've been shot because I was talking shit. I was talking mad shit about this airsoft thing because I was a paintballer, and I made them shoot me in the hand, you know, right here at like 40 feet away, 380 FPS with .2s, 90 round mag, mid cap. I was like, unload it, go ahead. Halfway through the mag, I'm like, okay, we're good. This thing was bleeding for a couple days, but
you get a soft spot, man, like under here. Neck,
listen,
man,
all these tendons were fucking wrecked for like 3 days. I couldn't use I couldn't edit, but I never talked shit about it again. But yeah, you've got, you know, people here, they understand what's going on, especially now with Russia and all the stuff where they can't get tag-ins, or they can't get BBs, or the right weight BBs because they're out. They're going to support your company because it's here, because it's American made, because you're a veteran, you know, hearing your story, hearing what your goals are. Like that goes a long way with the airsoft community because of what I've seen anyway, how kind of like loyal they are with, you know, to this sport. You know, they want it to succeed.
They're,
you know,
weirdly, or not weirdly, wouldn't be. They're oddly obsessed.
Yeah,
and most of us are. I mean, like, I think it's just the, you know, I'm obsessed. Like yeah, I don't know if you listen to Jordan Peterson at all.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's another one of my favorites. I consider, you know, I have this weird trifecta. You know, people say in Christianity, the Godhead, 3 in 1, the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. For me, it's, you know, a little bit older now. I'm the father is Jocko Willink. He's almost unforgiving, merciless. And then the son is Tim Kennedy.
Oh, nice.
And, you know, the ex-Green Beret. And then this Holy Spirit to me is Jordan Peterson. So that's kind of my...
but that's a good analogy for real. It really is.
They all have their kind of ways about it. And they really just guide me in a lot of ways whenever I'm like, man, you know, how do I handle this situation? But Jordan Peterson talks a lot about, you know, obsessed men that get crazy about, you know, and most of them are people in my positions that just they'll forgo everything to ensure that their business and their operation continues functioning. And
absolutely,
you know, most people in airsoft are obsessed with airsoft. You know?
They get it right away.
Yeah.
The first event they go to, you know, big event they go to, they're into it, man. And this is across the world, by the way. I've talked to these podcasts I've done with a lot of people in the UK, Canada, Belgium. I'm doing one next week with a girl in South Africa. Like every single story is, I went one time with my boyfriend or my brother or, you know, somebody in my family or whatever, or my, you know, this girl over here was, you know, she got me into it. I went one time and now they're just balls to the wall, you know, like, and they love the community and the camaraderie. So that's across the board, big time.
Yeah, really, the people are obsessed. So that's something that BlueMag has cultivated around itself. Is just people are, you know, the apparel, for instance. You know, like I'll have to send you one of these because we'll start making these. You know, we only pick U.S. suppliers for our apparel and stuff. You know, it has the yellow thing on the back.
I was going to ask you, is that a Ranger kind
Yes.
of like look, or the Raven look? Because the Raven looks kind of
Yeah.
similar
Raven's the same thing. Anything
without
in
the
the
outline.
army is really that yellow arch.
Right.
And to me, I wanted to create that military-esque on our apparel with the
Yeah.
yellow arch. People like it. It catches your
Yeah.
eye.
Oh, it looks awesome.
Yeah, when you're like you'll be at the chow hall and you'll be eating, you kind of do a double
Yeah.
take at a guy's back. You're like, yo, does this hoodie say Ranger? It's like, it just catches people. That yellow arch
For
catches
real.
eyes. So
I would
that's
definitely consider wearing that, even though I was in the Marines. Okay.
yeah. Well, it's the same thing Marines, like Marines
I know.
have their
I'm kidding.
their thing, but if Marine goes to airborne school, they're probably going to buy an airborne hoodie
Right.
that has that thing on there.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
it's more like military wide than
Yeah.
anything else. But the Marine hoodie, two other guys I have that aren't on the website, that are my chief marketing officer. He's a Marine, and then I have a sales guy under him who's also a Marine.
Nice.
And they designed the green hoodies.
Okay.
On the website, because they're much more Marine-esque. They're green like this with the BlueMag here in black, and then on the back it has in black the BlueMag logo. So
Yeah.
Marines like those a lot. But the apparel too, we just started getting a flood of orders for that too, and I'm
Good.
like, Jesus, man! So it was like this undying loyalty to support what we're doing.
Yeah.
And I wasn't expecting that, and that's really people just flooded to us. I got a whole order yesterday of all the season 1 stuff because it's limited edition, and
Yeah.
I'm like, Jesus, man, like we're gonna have to expand here pretty soon because we can't keep up. So our seasonal labels haven't got out there yet, though. But man, they're cool as shit.
Nice.
I had a graphic designer design them, and they are like out of this world. So every single seasonal bottle, like when you see our stuff on shelves in the future, it's probably going to have a season 1 bottle here, season 6, season 4, season 5, and they're all different artwork and colors in every single one. And it's
wow.
like,
Okay.
it'd be really cool. So, our generic label right now is the only one we have, but the seasonal 1 labels will start getting in rotation. And then season 2 labels will start getting rotated. And then that's all we'll have from then on out is these seasonal stuff, which is just like cool as shit. So
That's cool. Yeah, I can't wait to see that. Well, I will definitely tell these guys to get all their supplies, in the future from you guys.
all right.
Well, I'm going to do, so this is, like I said earlier, this recorded. I'm going to edit it. It'll come out, in a few days. Before it does, I'm going to tag you on I'll do a post on Instagram. I do like a countdown.
Mhm.
Okay. And then kind of get, I do a bunch of posts on that before it comes out. And then I post and tag everybody when it's released, and it'll be released on YouTube and Spotify or iTunes or whatever, all the podcast stuff, or podcast apps, whatever. So I will tag you in that as well.
All right. Yeah, that'll be great. All right. Yeah, looking forward to it.
All right, man.
Probably watch this again just because.
I always watch them. I'm like, I watch 5 minutes. I'm like, God, I look stupid. I sound stupid. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
All
I
right,
try to
brother.
watch them again to get like pointers and stuff for future stuff. I said,
Well, I listen to my own so I can critique myself, because I edit my own videos, and I'm like, oh, I should have asked this question, or I should have shut up when I, whatever. But
hopefully we got to most of the stuff we wanted to. I think I did. Definitely had a lot more just bogus questions, but I think I hit everything I wanted to. So
good.
All right, Eric.
All right,
Yeah,
brother.
it's been a pleasure, man. Hope to hear from you in the future.
You too. Have a
All
good night.
Yeah, thanks.